Greetings everyone, welcome aboard. My name is Joseph James. Happy Thursday to you guys, February 24th, 2011. Here's your live trading recap. Now, of course, another great day in the live trade room this morning. Made over 330 ticks on the advanced strategy. The fast track traders, if you're a guest this morning with us or a member this morning, fast track traders made a great income this morning. Right? So fast track working well this morning. Our advanced strategies working well this morning. Auto trader working well today as well. We had a great day all around. Now, what happened today? Well, today was a Thursday that felt like a Monday, or was it a Tuesday? Or maybe Friday? Well, no, today was a Thursday, which had all the news from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday crammed all in Thursday morning. So lots of news this morning, which meant, well, possibly a really good day, but possibly a really tough day as well. If you guys recall, my exact words were, a lot of potential for this to be a disaster today, because what happens is when news events, like for example, crude inventories this morning. Now see, normally crude inventories come out on a Wednesday. Well, today they're on a Thursday. Normally we don't see durable goods on Thursday morning. Usually that's on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. So we're seeing news this morning that we don't normally see on a Thursday morning. Now, if you're like me, most professional traders, we don't really like to see anything different, right? We like the routine that we're already in. So we think to ourselves, lots of news could mean lots of movement, and that could mean some really great trades for us today. But at the same time, we also know that most of the news events today aren't usually supposed to be on a Thursday morning, right? So that told us we may not get the reaction we usually get. And we saw that today on crude oil. Today was actually a good example on crude today. The result or the reaction at 11 o'clock inventories was very weak. Right? We traded it, of course, but it was much weaker than it would have been on a Wednesday when people are ready for it. Right? So usually when professional traders are left to trade something different or out of the norm, we usually tend to be a little more conservative, because if it's out of the norm, usually people are not going to be there to participate. And of course, the more people are there, right, the more volume, the more speed, the more liquidity, the more consistency we see in our trading results. So lots of news, but the news was not typically for today. So we thought to ourselves, boy, this could go either way here. Might be a great day, might be a pretty challenging day. We had a great day, right? Over 330 ticks of profit on our advanced method. We also had, which of course threw another kind of wrench in the system here, was we had a lot of chatter coming out of the Middle East, right? We had news coming out of Libya, right? Libya, of course, a lot of violence there right now. And they're telling us they've only got 3/4 of the supply coming out of Libya. Well, that caused prices overnight to jump. But then we have the Saudi Arabia community coming in, right? We get chatter out of Saudi Arabia saying, don't you worry, we'll cover the supply. Don't worry, I'll bet they will. Right? So Libya says, we don't have enough crude here anymore. Price spikes overnight. Then early this morning, Saudi Arabia comes out and says, don't you guys worry, supply's fine, right? We got plenty of this crude here, this black gold, right? And price comes down off those highs. Now, there was one big thing, though, that really kind of put a wedge right in the plan. The 100 level, right? On the crude today, the 100 level. Now, if you guys watch the morning prep, I post the morning prep at 7:45. What the biggest problem we had was we wanted to buy the lows, sell the highs. Well, at 7:45, the highs were the all-time highs, and the lows was the 100. So the problem we had early this morning was that the ideal, right, the highs or the lows of the trading range, we had all-time highs and we had big round number 100, right? The 100 level is probably the biggest big round number. So where we wanted to trade this morning, we couldn't, because it was at areas that were just, we expected to be very challenging. All-time highs and, right, the big round number of 100. So we had to be careful with crude. We knew the levels we wanted to trade at early this morning were not going to be the best levels. We also knew we had inventories at 11 o'clock, which means at about 10:30, we really had to be watching that personality on crude oil to be sure we didn't get ourselves in trouble. Most of the time when inventories come out, we want to be usually staying away from it about 25 to 30 minutes before, right? That's because usually the personality will really start to change. So as you can see, we had a lot of different layers of concerns here this morning when we first began our day. Now, before 8:30 news came out, we put a great plan of attack together in the dollar. If you guys recall, the dollar was getting ready to drop, but to drop into a major support at 77 even. And we formulated a great plan of attack, and that plan of attack ended up playing out in our trades this morning. And we said, well, listen, if the dollar drops and tests the support, that will result in rising crude and rising gold. So if the dollar drops, let's look for rising prices. Let's be a buyer on gold and crude. That's exactly what we did. Then we said, well, wait a second. If price drops and then bounces off that support, which it probably should do, rising dollar, then let's look to sell those highs. So the plan was pretty simple. If the dollar dropped, expected price to test highs again. We were looking to buy. That's what we did. But then we also knew that if the dollar dropped, it's probably going to bounce somewhere along the line. And once that dollar bounced off support, we were now at those highs. Remember, we just bought up the highs. Now we were ready to sell those highs. It was a great plan of attack, and it worked out perfectly for us. 8:30 news came out. Everything was flat. Jobless claims flat. Durable goods was flat. At 11 o'clock, inventories come out lower. Now, what happened at 11 o'clock was, if you guys saw it, the market read it wrong. The initial response to the market was for price to drop. Prices on crude should typically rise with falling inventories. We got price jumping because of that, and we traded that perfectly. Once we saw the support level hold, we then bought the crude knowing that falling inventories will usually mean the majority of people in the market will think prices are rising. As you saw later in the morning though, price began to sell off, right? Most likely because of more news chatter. But it was a great experience at 11 o'clock this morning, reading the news, using previous news such as durable goods to try to dissect and interpret what that lower inventory may mean. Great experience this morning at 11 o'clock trading the news.